The snow was falling hard the night Emily Parker stood on her brother's porch, holding a pink suitcase in one hand and her daughter's small fingers in the other. Not knowing that one sentence would stay with her for the rest of her life, inside, the house Christmas music played loud and cheerful. Yellow lights glowed through the windows. Laughter spilled out, warm and careless, the kind that made people believe they were safe. Emily paused before knocking, her heart racing. She told herself this would be different. 5 years had passed. 5 long years of silence, struggle, and quiet hope. Surely time had softened old judgments. She knocked. The door opened, and Daniel Parker stood there, tall and confident, wearing a clean sweater and the same look of control he'd always had. For a second, his smile appeared. Then his eyes moved to the suitcase. Then to Lily. The smile faded. "Emily," he said, surprised, "you really came." She forced a calm breath. "You invited us." Daniel glanced over his shoulder, then stepped outside, pulling the door mostly shut behind him. The music inside continued, unaware. Snow drifted between them. "This might not be the best time," he said quietly. Emily felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. "What do you mean?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "Mom's been under stress. Christmas is already a lot. Do you know how things are?" "We're family," Emily replied, her voice steady but thin. Daniel's jaw tightened. "That's complicated." Behind her, Lily shifted, squeezing Emily's hand. "Mommy?" Emily looked down and smiled quickly. "It's okay, sweetheart." Daniel lowered his voice even more. "Look, Emily, your life went in a different direction. You made choices. People don't know how to deal with that." Emily stared at him. "With my daughter." Daniel exhaled slowly, as if patience was running out. "She's not part of the plan everyone pictured. This night is about tradition." The word tradition cut deeper than anything else. "You're saying my child doesn't belong at Christmas?" Emily said. Daniel didn't answer. He didn't deny it either. Inside the house, someone laughed loudly. A carol started playing. Contrast felt cruel. Lily looked up at Emily with wide eyes. "Aren't we going inside?" Lily's chest tightened so hard she thought she might break. She bent down, brushing snow from Lily's sleeve. "Not tonight, baby, but Grandma." Another time, Emily said softly. She stood, lifted the suitcase, and turned away. She didn't cry. She wouldn't give him that. She walked down the steps slowly, every step heavier than the last, Lily's small steps matching hers. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Opened again, they drove through quiet streets, Christmas lights blurring through the windshield. Houses glowed with warmth they weren't invited into. Lily fell asleep in the back seat, clutching a small stuffed reindeer she had picked out days earlier, excited to give it to her grandmother. Emily parked outside her small apartment and sat there long after the engine stopped. She rested her forehead against the steering wheel. The silence pressed in, thick and heavy. Shh! She wanted to scream. Instead, she breathed. Inside, the apartment was cold. She turned on the lights and helped Lily out of her coat without waking her. She tucked her into bed and sat beside her, watching her chest rise and fall. "I won't let this hurt you," Emily whispered. "I promise." She kept that promise by force of will. The years after were not kind. Emily worked long shifts at a diner, then overnight cleaning offices, then took classes online when Lily slept. Smile when tired, how to hide disappointment. Christmases were small, a tiny tree, simple gifts. But they were theirs. Lily grew older, stronger, curious. She asked questions Emily answered honestly, without bitterness. They built a life brick by brick. Slowly, painfully, proudly, Emily stopped waiting for apologies. What she didn't expect was to meet Michael. Michael came into her life quietly. Through a coworker's barbecue. He noticed Lily first, asked her about school, listened. He never treated her like a complication. He never treated Emily like a mistake. He showed up again and again. Years passed. Love grew steady and calm. Emily learned what it felt like to be chosen, still every December when the snow fell just right. Her chest remembered. On one such night, many years later, Emily stood in a warm living room. A real Christmas tree reaching the ceiling. Lily laughing nearby, taller now, confident. The house felt safe, earned. There was a knock at the door. Emily froze. Michael noticed. "You okay?" She nodded, unsure why her hands felt cold. "I'll get it." When she opened the door, she saw a face she hadn't expected to see again. Daniel, he looked older, tired, the confidence gone, replaced with hesitation. Snow clung to his coat. "Emily," he said softly. "Hi." For a moment, the years collapsed. The porch, suitcase. The words that never left. "I didn't expect you," she said. "I didn't expect to be welcome," he replied. "I just needed to say something." She waited. "I was wrong," Daniel said. "That night, I think about it every Christmas." Looked past him, back into the house where Lily laughed, safe and loved. She felt no anger now, only clarity. "That night changed us," she said, "but not the way you think." He nodded. "I see that now." She didn't invite him in. She didn't need to. "I accept your apology," Emily said calmly. "But my life didn't wait for it." Daniel swallowed and stepped back. "I know." Emily closed the door gently. Inside. Warmth wrapped around her. Lily handed her a mug of cocoa. Michael smiled. Emily looked at her daughter and felt peace. Some nights try to tell you that you don't belong. The strongest people learn to build a place. They always will. The first snow of December fell hard that morning, covering the streets in a thick white blanket. Emily Parker stood at her front door, taking a deep breath. Today was different. Today, Christmas wasn't just a date on the calendar, it was a victory. She had built a life that was warm, steady, and full of laughter, and she wasn't about to let anyone remind her of the nights she had been hurt. Inside, her daughter Lily, now 15, moved around the living room with a natural grace. Her red sweater glowed against the lights of the tall Christmas tree, which stretched proudly to the ceiling. The tree was a patchwork of ornaments, each with its own memory. A small wooden angel from Emily's childhood, a glittery snowflake Lily had made at school, and the tiny reindeer that had once comforted her after years of loneliness. "This is perfect, Mom," Lily said, eyes sparkling as she adjusted a string of lights. "It feels like a real Christmas movie." Emily smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "We earned it, baby. Every single piece of this." Their laughter was interrupted by a knock at the door. Emily's heart paused for a split second, though she didn't know why. She looked at Michael, who had been helping her hang garlands across the fireplace. He raised an eyebrow, a quiet question in his eyes. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, though a strange chill ran through her. "I'll get it." She opened the door and the past walked in as if it had never left. Daniel Parker stood there, older, softer, and a little uncertain. His coat was dusted with snow, his posture less rigid than she remembered. The same confidence that had once hurt her so deeply had been replaced by something almost apologetic. "Emily," he said, voice quiet. "Hi." The years collapsed between them in that single word. Emily remembered the porch, the pink suitcase, the snow, and the words that had tried to push her and Lily away. She studied him carefully, noting the lines in his face, the weight he carried now. "Didn't expect you," she said calmly, even as her chest tightened. "I didn't expect to be welcome," Daniel admitted. "I just needed to say something." Emily stayed silent, letting him speak, letting the years stretch out in the cold space between them. "I was wrong," he said finally. "That need I think about it every Christmas? What I said? What I did? I hurt you. I hurt Lily, and I'm sorry. I know sorry doesn't change the past, but I needed to say it anyway." Emily glanced past him. Lily was laughing with Michael, holding a plate of cookies they had baked together, completely unaware of the moment unfolding by the door. Emily's Hearts swelled with love for her daughter, strong, confident, and fully safe in the world she had built. "That night changed us," Emily said quietly, "but not the way you probably think. Didn't break us, it pushed us forward. We learned to build our own home, our own family, our own traditions. We belong here, Daniel, because we made a place for ourselves." He swallowed hard, as if the weight of her words pressed against his chest. "I see that now," he said softly. I I just needed to tell you. Not to be forgiven. Not to. Come inside, Jus," said. Emily studied him for a moment, feeling the old hurt lift like the snow melting in the sunlight. She had no anger now, only clarity. "I accept your apology," she said, "but my life didn't wait for it. We built this life without you, and we will keep building it." Daniel nodded, a small, sad smile crossing his face. He took a step back, letting the cold wind push him away from the door. "I understand. I wanted to say it." Emily closed the door gently, the click echoing like the final line of a chapter. Inside, warmth wrapped around her like a familiar blanket. Michael took her hand and pressed a kiss to her knuckles. Lily handed her a mug of cocoa, her eyes bright and full of trust. Emily looked at her daughter and felt a deep, quiet peace settle into her chest. For years she had thought about that Christmas when Daniel had said they didn't belong. She had felt the sting of rejection, the icy weight of his words. But tonight, surrounded by the love she had fought to create, she realized that the only family that truly mattered was the one she had chosen, the one that had chosen her in return. The living room glowed with soft light. The tree shimmered. Outside, snow continued to fall, but inside, Emily and her little family had created a world where love, acceptance, and joy reigned. She leaned back, sipping her cocoa, and watched Michael and Lily playfully argue over which ornament went where. Emily smiled, remembering the tiny pink suitcase, the cold porch, and the moment that had tried to define them. Some nights try to tell you that you don't belong. Some people try to make you feel unwanted. But Emily knew now that belonging wasn't about approval or past mistakes. It was about the life you build, the love you nurture, and the family you choose. And tonight, she was exactly where she was meant to be. Snow fell softly outside, but inside, hearts were warm, laughter was loud. And the spirit of Christmas was alive in every corner of their home. For Emily and Lily, it was more than a holiday, was proof that even after heartbreak, even after rejection, life could give them everything they ever needed. And in that glow, Emily promised herself she would never let anyone make her feel small again. She had learned to protect what mattered most. She had learned that love, chosen and nurtured, could heal the deepest wounds. As the night stretched on, the lights flickered softly against the walls, casting golden shadows. Emily watched her daughter place the final ornament on the tree and felt an overwhelming gratitude. This was her family, her life, her Christmas, and no one could take it from her. The past would always be a memory, but the present was hers on, so was the future. Tonight they belonged, fully, completely, and beautifully.